Cox.
What's going on, man?
Not much, man. How you doing today?
Doing pretty good. Doing pretty good. Looking forward to the show today.
Definitely.
Getting started and everything. So why don't you just lead in and tell us what we're going to talk about today?
Yeah, so we got a special guest on today, friend of Tony's, Nikki. Is going to talk to us a little bit about some of the things that we like to talk about here on our show. It's always good to have somebody new on, a guest, give you guys a different perspective on Black issues. So we're really looking forward to that. But as we always say, man, we need people to subscribe, man, and to watch our show. We put all of our content up on YouTube, then on social media, Twitter and Spoutable, a couple of days after we go live. So we're looking forward to it. If you have any recommendations for us, you can hit us at gentsmakingsense@yahoo.com. Let us know your recommendations and we'll move forward. But great show. Really looking forward to it.
And
Tony?
one thing about that, subscribe. You know what we say when we say subscribe, okay?
Now, or I'll hunt you down. Smash like.
All right. So that's what we're going to do. Okay, now I'm going to bring up bio on Miss Nikki Trust. Okay, how you doing, Nikki?
I
Hey,
am
Nikki.
doing great. How you guys doing?
We're doing
Good.
wonderful.
Thanks for joining us tonight. And I'm gonna just give people a little idea of what you all about and everything. I'm excited to have her on the show. Nikki is a wife and mother of two. She has a background in quality and manufacturing operations. Uh, she left the corporate world, decided she just don't want to do it no more. I hear you, and went out on her own. Entrepreneur. I call her a serial entrepreneur. So because she is really about her business and everything. Right now, she's holding down a real estate position at Southern Home Management Solution in Villa Rica. If you're in this area, hit her up. And she also deals with some insurance policies and everything. She'll tell you more about herself. She's real passionate about mentorship and looking out for the younger generation of women and seeing that they go in the right direction. Nikki is a graduate of University of West Georgia, biology major. We got a smart one today, man. We got a smart one. And she holds an MBA from the University of Phoenix. So without further ado, I'll let Miss Nikki tell you about a little bit more about herself.
So, hello, everybody. I'm excited to be here. So, I am, like you said, a mother of two. They're my world. I'm my wife. I'm all about my family, and they're the reason why I go so hard. And I'm a serial entrepreneur. I'm a real estate agent here in West Georgia, but my license goes from Georgia to Georgia. So, don't just think about just the West Georgia area. But I'm very passionate about just helping women, helping young women also just basically just follow their dreams, because we just get, as mothers, we just get caught up so much in taking care of our family, taking care of our kids, the husband, family members, and we just forget about ourselves. And so I just really want to encourage women, if it's going out, if it's just quilting or just starting a business or something that they just love to do to pass time, just encourage them to pick it back up. So I'm just all about women, especially Black women. And that's probably one of the reasons why I left corporate world, because I felt like I was missing time out on my family. And I feel like it was a dominant white male industry. Things that I was being asked to do, I just feel like a white man wouldn't be asked to do that. For instance, I'm thankful that I got my MBA, but the position that I was going for at the time, some of the white males were applying and they didn't have to have an MBA. And some of them didn't even really have to have a bachelor. They've been having time there, so that counted for them. So I just got tired of it and want to write my own journey, write my own what my requirement was for me and not nobody else. So that's
Great.
I am.
Yeah.
Nice.
Some of the same thing we talk about every
All
week.
the time, man.
Talk about DEI, but
Yep.
they're they're the ones that least qualified. You can see by what's going on in the world today. They're the most least qualified. So
Yep.
okay, go ahead, Suleiman. You had something to say? I'm sorry.
No. I was listening to you.
Okay. So the subject we're going to talk about basically is where do African Americans go now? Did they switch sides? With the November election, a lot of African American women, Hispanics did the unthinkable. LGBTQ community, they did the unthinkable. They voted for Donald Trump. I would have never thought that happened. So, like we say on this show, we're concerned about other people, but our primary concern right now as African American is to worry about ourselves right now, what we can do to better our people and everything. So my question is, my first question today, going to the subject, is: does the solution lie in reforming existing parties, Republican and Democratic Party, or do we create a new political engagement avenues? Do we do something different, independent, or come up with our own party? I'm gonna throw this one at you first, Suleiman. Okay?
Uh-oh.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, I mean, I made my point known for a long time. I think that Black people, as a whole, need to focus on ourselves. There are lots of people in this country that have rode the coattails of African American, um, the suffering, all of the things that we've gotten accomplished, all the laws that we've to make this a better country and into our culture, into our community, and benefit from that. And then when they get to a certain point, they turn their backs on us. And I think we saw that in the last election, where a lot of people that we have been considered to be allies of ours voted against our interests. So I just think that we need to focus on ourselves. I have no issues with coming to the table and working with people as long as we are on the same level when it comes to power. But I am not for allowing anyone else who's doesn't look like us, doesn't share our reflection, to come in and benefit from our struggles. So how does that relate to politics? I don't think that we need a new political party. I think that we just need to start enforcing the power that the Black community brings to the United States. We spend 10 billion, 20 billion, $30 billion a year in just hair products, beauty products. We spend that type of money, and we need to get these companies and these organizations to start recognizing the power that we bring.
Okay.
So,
Okay. That's a good start. Nikki, can you enlighten us on how you see it from your perspective?
I don't think we need to start anything new. I just think we need to start holding whichever party that we are going to say that represent the Black community to a higher standard. And like you said, the women, Black women, the Hispanic, everybody voted for Trump because I think they got scared. I think they didn't really understand what they was getting into. Instead of just holding true to their self, like, no, this is what we have to do. And we got to stay united. I think because we wasn't united as a community, a Black community, because we had some people in our community saying, no, vote for Trump, do this. They're pushing him. And then we had other people like, no, that's not good for our community. That's not good for our culture. And instead of us just coming together like some community do, it divided it, and he ended up winning because of that. But I don't think we need to be creating anything new. I just think we need to hold them to a higher standard, make them understand, make them feel it, make them understand that we have powers, because they don't think we have the power. And like you said, we spend so much money in different industries. We really run the world, but we got other people thinking they're running the world because I think sometimes we sit in our houses and we look at the other cultures, what they're doing, and we want to outdo them by either buying bigger or spending here and doing this and that. But it ended up hurting us because some things that we went through generations ago. But we have to get it right. We have to stand together, and we're not gonna be successful until we do that. We're not gonna punish them and hurt them until we stand together and decide what is right for the Black community or for our community.
Yeah. Well said. I agree 100%, and I know Suleiman agree 100%. With that, with those two answers and everything, I got some statistics, like I do sometimes. I got some Pew survey And the survey basically say, with everything that's going on, African American or Black Americans still believe the vote is the one way to make your feelings known and to make people feel your power. The vote. That's the one way. And this is by far the top way to make people understand where we come from. The other one was right. A close second is something that we talked about in one of our other shows, Suleiman, supporting Black-owned businesses and everything. The number one was vote with 40-some%. Was what was it? I can't even read my own stuff. 63% and 58% for supporting Black-owned business. The next one is volunteering.
Yeah, and if I could just jump in for 1 second on that
Go
before
ahead.
we move on, is I think that's very important. I mean, one, I do believe we need to support our own entrepreneurships and all of our people who are starting businesses, but we also need to hold other companies accountable. Like, for instance, a few months ago, there was a national, boycott of Target and Amazon. And you've heard me say before that I think that's successful. I mean, I brought up Costco. There are a lot of people in this country that don't go necessarily go to Costco. It's like, I don't want to pay the $60. But I want to remind people that Costco basically told this administration to go pack sand and said, we're not doing anything with our diversity program. We think it's beneficial to Costco and Costco's business plan, and we're going to continue to be a diversified company. Costco said, we're not going to do that. In my opinion, is we should reward those companies that do that. Walmart basically said, Black people to hell with you. Target said, Black people to hell with you. Amazon said, Black people to hell with you. I'm not saying that we should boycott Amazon, Target, or Walmart, but I'm saying that you can look and try to potentially buy stuff that you would typically buy from Walmart from other companies. So instead of spending $100 in Walmart, you can spend $75, and they will feel that pinch. So I think that we need to look at doing stuff like that. We don't have to go out and protest and walk up and down the street. We can just protest by not spending the same amount of money there. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Look at you read my mind. Because believe it or not, protesting is at the bottom of where people think that we make a difference. Protesting is right at the bottom, next to calling your elected official. So they don't think those two really matter. So you make good points about all those. I myself ended my Sam's Club membership this month, and I got a Costco membership, even though I got to drive farther to go to Costco now. But I just thought it was important to take a stand somewhere. And if you're going to ask other people to take a stand, you got to take a stand yourself. So I decided that was the stand I was going to take. Some of the other statistics I got out there is we were talking about on one of our shows about Black leadership. Like you said, every time we pick one Black leadership, they get killed or something. Barack Obama escaped a lot of that simply because he had Secret Service, and he still does have Secret Service. So he's, believe it or not, right now he is still the only person that Black Americans think can lead us effectively, and nobody else comes close. I mean, it's single digits for everybody else. I thought that was interesting that nobody's come up with another leader per se. Nearly 4 in 10 Black adults say that Black Lives Matter has done the most to help Black people in recent years. Did y'all see that coming?
I'll go, Nikki. Why don't you go ahead, Nikki?
Did you see that coming? When I say that,
because I thought they had a lot of scandals. Like, I didn't think that, I think they was out in the forefront and we saw them a lot. And I think they was put in front of us a lot.
Yeah.
But I don't know if they actually did the most for the Black community though.
Well, 39% of adult Black Americans think they did. And guess who came in second? the NAACP with 17%.
Wow.
They think very little of these other groups, and
What was
black
the age
churches.
group? What was the age group for this voting?
Yeah, black churches. The age groups were, and it's here right here. I think it's somewhere between. They said adult Americans, adult Black Americans. So
So
I'm
you're probably
thinking,
talking about the 18 to 35 demographic.
yeah,
You got to keep in
somewhere
mind,
in there.
18 to 35.
Yeah.
Most of the people weren't born when the NAACP was at its highest rate, and even
Yeah.
so they weren't around. So they don't look at organized protests, organized Black groups that were very successful during the civil rights movement. They don't see them as beneficial towards today.
Yeah, Black Lives Matter was the one that was put out in front of
That's
them.
the one that they see.
Yeah, and the one that surprised me was the Black church, which is like 13%. It's fourth on the list of most influential. I couldn't believe that either. I thought the Black church would be higher. It goes to show you, though, that the media drives the way we feel because they put Black Lives Matter out there, So the media really drives the way we feel on a regular basis. And I think the last survey I had, I think, was about half of Black adults say racism in our laws is a bigger problem than racism by individual people. They don't care about Joe Smo not liking them, being racist. They care about the laws that we have being racist laws or being based on racism. Any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I have a couple thoughts on that. I mean, that one makes sense to me because the reality is that somebody that you work with is your peer. Okay, so what? They don't like you because of your reflection. Doesn't really affect you. But when there's institutional racism involved in your job, promotional opportunities, candidates for hire. I mean, I know, Nikki, I'm a deputy director of emergency management in my jurisdiction, and I know in our office we are very, very sensitive to ensuring that we have a very diverse interview panel, male, female, different races of people, so that when someone comes in to do an interview, they're not coming in looking at a table full of white guys or coming in looking at a table full of Black guys. They're looking at multiple people and they feel a little bit comfortable. We do that. So those are the type of things that we need to work on, I think, in the country to give people a fair opportunity. Black people never asked for handouts. We've never done that since we've been in this country. We've only asked for, you started the same line that I started, and let's see who gets to the finish first, or let's see who competes the best. So that's what we need to work out. So yeah, I don't disagree with that third one. But to go back to the church, I'll just say this before I close out is, I think that Black people, and Nikki, Tony knows this, but I'm Muslim. But Black folks need to realize, particularly Black Christians need to understand that the church doesn't have the power that it used to have. Black men have left the church for over 10 years. I mean, that's just reality. Black men are not in the church like we used to be 20, 25, 30, 40 years ago. They've left. And some of that has to do with, just society. But I think a lot of it has to do with the type of preaching that is being preached in our churches now. When I was younger and I would go, to my friends' churches, I mean, it was fire and brimstone. I mean, that's what the minister and the preacher was up there talking about. Now, a lot of the preaching is more prosperity type preaching and stuff like that. Everything needs to be, good, and I don't know. I've read the Bible, even as a Muslim, I've read the Bible, and the God in the Bible is not, that's not the type of God he is. He is very vengeful and he will take revenge. But that's not what's taught in church now, which is why I think a lot of people are left. So I'm sorry, I got on my soapbox again.
No. We always want to hear what you think. You want to add anything, Nikki?
I agree. It doesn't. What he said. It doesn't. That question. Ask that question one more time.
Basically, what I'm saying is, what were you surprised that the church didn't have more sway
Oh,
in what?
no.
Okay.
Because, like he said, church is not like it used to be. And I think you had this conversation. I think the church has fallen behind of being the face of the community. A lot of things that our community go through, they shouldn't have to go and get a lot of things from the government. To me, like I told you, I think financial services, financial um,
Literacy.
literacy, that shouldn't be, you shouldn't have to pay for a program to get that. Our churches should be teaching things like that. And so because they is being driven by money,
Money.
a lot.
Yeah.
So a lot of things in our community just have went lacking. So the church is not on the they're not on the front line fighting anymore. They're behind. And so a lot of people do not trust them anymore. Not a lot of people don't look for them for guidance. And like he said, for instance, a lot of men have left the church. I was going to this one church and it was nothing but women. I have a son. And my husband, he would go to church with us or whatever. But as the mother, as a Black mother, I'm making sure my son is going to church. So we had to change churches because it just wasn't any men for him to, and I might have a son and a daughter, but it wasn't any men for him to look up to see what they're doing in church, to, to have that guidance, or just to look to see like, hey, it's men in church. So this is a place I, need to come. I can see, men doing good, men showing me what to do, or, just worshiping or whatever. So it's just like the men are not in the churches anymore, and the churches are not in the community anymore. So that's why they're at that spot.
Good point. Good point. And one reason why I joined Ebenezer Baptist Church that I joined, it had sort of like most Muslim church. Ebenezer has a strong men ministry, real strong. I mean, I can count 200 to 300 men at any given time at church every Sunday. And with I'm a member of the ambassadors of our church. It's sort of like Fruits of Islam. The ambassadors are the Fruits of Islam. We're the ones who make sure that everybody in the church is safe. You're not getting in this church with a knife, a gun, or anything else. Now we got a police department because our pastor is a senator, and we got Secret Service, but we're the first line of defense, the ambassadors. So, and when he comes out to speak to the people, he's got one Secret Service guy with him, but the ambassadors are the ones that are guarding him. So that's the main reason I joined it, because they got a strong men's ministry, and the women in the church respect that ministry also. So that's all I had to add to that.
Well, I mean, I agree with both you said. I mean, I think Nikki said it, pretty much hit the nail on the head. I mean, the reality is that, we've lost that as a community. I mean, we used to have a community where the men were the leaders of our community, and we held each other accountable, meaning that men held younger men accountable, younger men held kids accountable. Same thing on the women's side. Women held young women accountable, young women held young girls accountable. And there was a stepping stone training of what you should be, what was respected, and what was expected of you as a young adult. That has been broken in our community. I mean, you can't get people who get on TV, or people who politicians or community leaders to say things that are truthful without being canceled.
Yeah,
because somebody has said something that offends some person. There's no accountability. There's no standard. You know how we used to do in the military, Tony. The military the military never has the highest standards or the lowest standards. They just have a middle of the line standard.
Yeah.
We've lost that in our community, where we don't have that middle of the line, where we see a kid out on the street doing something stupid. Now, I'm older, and I'll say that, but I remember when I was coming up, it was not unusual for me to do something stupid on one side of my street and get my head knocked off by one of my friend's parents. And then by the time I got home, there was a phone call already to my father, and I got it again. That was normal in my community. So holding each other accountable.
Yeah.
You can't do that now. You do something like that now, the police department's going to be out there. They're going to arrest you. They're going to harass you. And I think that's where the break is in our community.
And that goes right back. All this ties in together. That goes right back to the second point, where they said voting is the number one way to make a difference. But the second, and a close second, is supporting the Black community and supporting Black business. Supporting the Black community means helping your neighbor. You know, when people didn't work back in the day, but their neighbor got a good job, that neighbor would say, I'll take care of your kids so you can go to work. And they didn't charge them no money, you know, because they wanted to see their neighbor to get ahead. And we lost with, unfortunately, in my opinion, when we did integration, we lost some of what we had when we were segregated. In my opinion, I think we lost some. Some people don't want to hear that, but that's in my opinion. So,
well, I always say, my saying is always, I ask people is, do you think you have any responsibility for the ethnic image of people who share your reflection? Meaning that when you go out, do you feel like you have an obligation to ensure that people see you the way you want people to see our community? And we've lost that in our community, where people go out and they don't care. I mean, without getting all into the gutter with some of the disgusting stuff we see out here nowadays, but I mean, the way some of our young ladies dress, the way some of our young men act.
We talking about that.
We got young men out there that can't speak the Queen's English, can't talk, have no way of communicating, and we take that and that's considered cool. It's okay if you splitting and cutting verbs and nouns all over the place and not speaking proper English. That's what's known as being cool nowadays. Or people like me, you, and Nikki, we start talking, and all of a sudden we're talking like we're white folks.
Yeah, exactly. Now the next one, and I'll ask this question to both of y'all. Do you think we've made any headway in improving racial inequities?
You want to go first on that, Nikki? I can go. You want to think about it?
Yeah, she gotta get a microphone together.
Do I think we've made any headway? I think look at today. Look at what's going on right now. Yeah. And again, I think we'll move forward, but something will happen and we'll move back a little bit. Yeah. But it's because again, we don't keep plowing. We just get, I don't know, as Black people, sometimes I think we just get to a point where we're satisfied. If it's okay and if nothing is shaking, the boat is not right, we're going to stay there. But we don't keep pushing to make sure that it stays, that we make sure that it's successful. So I think we still have a lot of work to do.
Yeah. Suleiman, I'll give you the numbers after you go ahead. You can go ahead and say what you need to say, and then I'll give you the poll.
Yeah, because I want to hear the numbers. Why don't you do the numbers first, and I'll comment afterwards.
Poll number says that 52% of Black people say that we haven't moved forward at all. 52% of Black adults don't think we move forward. So the majority of Black adults don't believe that we move forward at all.
Okay, Nikki, I don't want to ask your age, but are you within 30 to 40 or
40?
Okay, all right. I'm sorry, I didn't want to ask you your age, but I just want to see what your generation was.
She's really 56. But that's right.
Well, hey, I just turned 28. I just want to make
sure. Go ahead. Yeah, so, I'm sorry. I had to put that in there.
What I would say is I think that we have gone a very, very long way. We've gone a lot farther than what a lot of Black people see, because I think people make it personal and they look at their personal life, they look at their personal circumstances and say, we haven't gone as far as I'd like to see. But if you look at across the country and what Black people have accomplished over the last 100 years, where we are in positions in corporate America, where we are in positions in government, we've made tremendous strides. One of the things that I always say about Black folks, and I agree with Nikki, is we do get stagnant sometimes, is that we have a lot of successful Black people that are doing good things in the United States, but we focus on the small fraction of Black people that are doing ratchet stuff, that are doing things that don't benefit the community as a whole. We fail as a community in highlighting people like Nikki and what she's doing. That's what we need to do a better job of. And Tony, you've heard me over the last years talk about one of the things that we should take an example from is in the early 1900s, there was a movie that came out. It was called Birth of a Nation. You guys remember that Birth of a Nation?
Yeah, I remember somewhat.
It was a Klan movie. I mean, it was so popular. I mean, they played it at the White House with Woodrow Wilson.
Wow.
But it was a Klan movie. And what it did was it changed, because Black people had made through Reconstruction significant progress after slavery. I mean, we had multiple Black senators and representatives from Mississippi and Arkansas and places like that towards the beginning of the 19th century. And most people didn't live together, meaning that Black folks lived somewhere, white folks lived somewhere. We didn't live close to each other. So no one really knew how people were. But what that movie did was that movie put out stereotypes about Black people that white people grabbed. Things like, oh, we eat chicken and watermelon all the time. We can't talk. That we just mooch off of people. We steal. That we are low class people. That's what that movie did. And it convinced a lot of white people in the 1900s to say, okay, so if they're living like that, then we can start to treat them the way we used to treat them during slavery.
Yeah.
That's what happened. So Reconstruction was positive for us. And then that movie came out, and what they did was they created a narrative around Black people that affected us for almost 50 years, up into the 60s, 50s and 60s. So what I'm saying is that what we need to do as Black folks is we need to be we should be understanding of what we support, meaning what movies we go see, what we watch on television, how we allow our children to dress, the images that we have, because we need to change that narrative where we should be talking about upper middle class and upper class Black people, as opposed to talking about the other people. So, you know me, Tony, I can't stand Tyler Perry. Mm-hmm. Can't stand him. I will say that right now. I don't like him. I think his movies are terrible for our community. But we need to start producing movies that show people like Nikki, people like me, people like you, Tony, middle-class Black folks out here doing the right thing so we can change our national image. And I know I went around the world there, but I was trying to make a point.
But Nick, we had this conversation somewhat when you said what your son and your daughter said to you when we're talking about images and stuff about
school.
Yeah, go ahead and
So this week, my daughter, I always ask them when they get in the car, hey, how was your day or whatever, or tell me something exciting, tell me something that happened at school. And so they was like, oh, 2 girls got to fight. And for some reason I said, oh, were they Black or white? And my daughter says, no, white girls don't ever fight at our school. White people don't really fight at our school. And my son said the same thing. And so it kind of a little disturbed me a little bit because, again, why does that have to be our image? Yeah. And so, I was like, are you serious? They was like, yeah, Mom, white people don't fight at our school.
Yeah. And so that's a narrative for your kids. It's a narrative and it's out there now. But I've seen it in real time by working in the school system for as long as I did. And the white kids are just as bad as Black kids, even worse. The problem is they know how to game the system.
Yes.
And our kids, we either haven't taught them or we don't want them to game the system. We want them to keep it real. Keep it real. That's beat their ass. You know what I'm saying? That's what it. No, but I will confront a white kid in the hallway on something they did, and they will look me straight in the eye and say, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I shouldn't have did that. I won't do it again. And then walk away and say, have a nice day. I do the same thing to a Black kid. Man, what's wrong with you?
Yep.
Why you picking on me, man? You know, I'm like, God, man. And I see it, and I know it, and my years of teaching and everything, I try to talk to the kids and tell them, when you're wrong, man. Especially when you're talking to me, because I'm not gonna let you get away with it, you know. So and I see where her children are coming from, because it happens. White kids are just as bad as black kids. They
Sure,
just
yeah.
know how to game the system.
Sure. Yeah, they do the same thing. But we used to have there used to be an understanding in our community. I know when I was younger, I was more afraid of my father than I was of any teacher
Exactly.
or principal at my school. So I would rather get in trouble at school than for that principal or teacher to call home to my father.
Yeah.
And
Exactly.
that in some of our community, in a lot of our community, we don't have that anymore. So those kids are like, well, what's going to happen? Nothing's going to happen to me. Nothing's going to happen when I get home.
Yeah.
And teachers, I mean, they have their hands tied so much in principals where they can't really do anything in the school either.
Yeah, you're exactly right.
So I think the answer to the question, and I think we all hit on it, is I think we've come a lot further than what people want to give us credit for. I think we've done a bad job as a community in allowing other groups of people to benefit from what we have fought for. Like, there are people that come in this country today and they get the ability to buy houses, they can open up businesses, they can get loans, they can get all that stuff. That's stuff that Black people fought for the civil rights movement and the civil rights law to open that stuff up. Yeah. But we in our own country have difficulty getting those same loans, those same ability to do things. So we need to refocus, in my opinion, circle back around to the stuff that we fought for and ensure that our people are getting our fair share of opportunities.
And there you go again, read my mind, getting us to how we're going to wrap this up and finalize everything we talked about today. And the question is, how do Black people leverage their political and monetary muscle to get to where we want to be? Nikki going first today. This one. I'm sorry. She going first.
This is all hers.
This is yours. How do you believe that Black people should leverage their political and monetary muscle to get to where we need to be?
Number one, we have to be united. We have to be on the same page. And I think we have to pull our money back from them. I've always said, to me, I don't understand how you have the Jay-Z, the Beyoncés, the LeBrons, and all these people, all these Black American people who have so much money, but our community struggle. We don't have our own hospital. We don't have our own schools that some people can attend for free, and I think instead of us saying, hey, they're going to stand up, but I think it's going to have to be the people under them, the upper middle class and the middle class going down. We're going to have to pull our money back from those companies and stand together and come up with a political plan to say, hey, this is what our community need, and we just can't back down. I just think that right now it just seems like some people are just backing down and they don't want that fight like that. The fight we had in the 60s, like, we got to come back strong like that. We got to have strong leaders like that to lead us in our community. And, I think it's hard to find those leaders, but I know they're out there. It's just that they just got to come forward and step up and be willing to fight. We all just got to be on the same page and fight like they fought in the 1960s. It's a different fight, but, and it's a different look. But it's still the same concept.
Yeah. And you hit on something that Suleiman hits on a regular basis. It's gonna be us, the regular people, that do this. It ain't gonna be the LeBron James and all them, because we've seen with Kamala Harris's run for president, they show up and these they show up, and now since the election is over, they're gone. They're gone. They're nowhere to be seen now. So it's going to take us, the ones that got to grind every day. We got to get out there and grind. It's going to take us to lead the charge. And it's not one of us. It's all of us that got to lead the charge. And it's not, you would think, Michael Jordan, I'll give him credit for something he's doing right now. He's opening up free clinics in North Carolina. I think he's opened up 4 or 5 of them. Urgent care clinics and stuff. So they're doing stuff on a small scale. We got to think big. it's time to think big now. The time for small scale stuff, I believe, is over. Go ahead, Suleiman. What you think?
No, I agree with what you guys said 100%. I mean, I'm very cautious about telling people how they should spend the money that they earn. So I'm not one of those people that's saying that entertainers and those people need to do more. We don't need your I don't need you to come out and say anything. What I need you to do is to invest the money that you want to invest into things that are successful. Mm-hmm. Like, for instance, there's a school in Chicago that graduates 100% of their students every single year out of high school. 100% of them go to colleges. Black school, all young black men and young girls. They graduate. Every one of them, they all go to colleges. Use your money to make sure that type of program is highlighted, so that potentially somebody maybe on the West Coast might say, you know what, let me duplicate that out here in LA, in Compton. Or somebody down south may see it and go, you know what, that's a good program. Let me do that. LeBron James went out and built his own school in Akron. I get it. I'm from Ohio. I get it. He's a Ohio boy. He wanted to do something for Ohio. I get it. But there was already a successful program out there. Why not just go to them and say, hey, I have the funds. Let's duplicate what you're doing here in Chicago in Akron. We already got a winning program. Mm-hmm. But instead you go out and you do something on your own because, a lot of these guys, they got big egos. They want their name on the school. They want the
Jalen Rose is doing the same thing in Detroit.
Exactly. Instead of getting together and saying, no, we're going to take this program that's been successful and we're going to duplicate it in another place so that our young kids can get good education. There's always going to be a certain section of Black people, white people, Asian people, it doesn't matter, who are not doing well. Mm-hmm. But we don't have to highlight that. Right. We don't have to see that on reality TV every week. We don't have to see that on the movie screen. We don't have to see, and I'm calling out 50 Cent. I don't need to see our drug dealers and our gang members in a movie. We know that segment is in our community, mm-hmm. but we don't have to highlight it. Let's highlight the 61% of Black families that are in the middle class, or the 2.5 million Black people in the United States that are in the upper class. Why don't we highlight that? Mm-hmm. We don't have to highlight Tyler Perry, Black dudes that beat up on women. There's a whole lot of us out there that love our wives, that treat our wives with respect, that you could highlight in your movies and still make money. And again, I'm sorry on my soapbox, but
that's what it's
Tony and I think you might have been a little bit young, Nikki, but the Cosby Show, in the 80s and 90s, the Cosby Show was the most watched show in the United States. They got more people every Thursday than the Super Bowl was getting.
Yeah.
People would rush home from work or shopping or whatever they were doing to get in front of that TV at 8 o'clock to see a Black family raise their children in the way that we raised our children. So that's what we need to do. We need to get shows like that on TV.
More positive shows and
more
stuff.
Positive shows. Just nothing. Of course, families have issues. We all know that. I mean, everybody has issues with their children and husband and wife and stuff like that. But that's not the point. What we want to show is that you can have a good home, people making good money, raising decent children, and you can work through the problems.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So that's what I'm saying.
Yeah. Okay. So, Nikki, you want to add anything before we get ready to close out the show today?
No, I think it was a great discussion. And again, you know how I feel about Tyler Perry too. I just want to get back to the family, like the core. As the grandmother said, oh my God, about when you make one closed fist, everybody's together, you can strike a mighty blow. And I think that's what we got to get back to our community. If you just put everybody together, we can strike a mighty blow.
Right. Go and give us your particulars too, where we can reach you at and where we can find you at.
Okay. So my website for my real estate is NunnTruss, TRUSS, NunnTruss realty.com. My Facebook is Nikki Trust. My IG is also Nikki Trust. So you can reach out to me there.
Okay, good. I enjoyed it. So what do you think we should talk about next week, Mr. Suleiman?
Well, I think we're going to talk a little bit about the HBCUs, specifically with the way that this administration is removing money, funds that used to fund HBCUs, particularly in the Trump era. And I think that's a good conversation because, again, these are things that Black people have fought for years. I mean, there's a reason why there are HBCUs. We didn't just go out and say, you know what, we don't want to go to Nebraska or Ohio State or UCLA. We couldn't go to those universities. So we had to create our own universities. That needs to be specified to people. And now they're trying to take federal funds that we pay taxes into away from supporting those universities. So to me, that's a fight that our community needs to really kind of sit up and see what's going on. And we'll have a good conversation about that next week.
Yeah. Nikki, I want to say before we go, we enjoyed you here. You're welcome to come back anytime. We always tell our guests we're welcome to come back when you got something going on. You can talk about it. And I look forward to working with you on your show when you decide to do your show. I look forward to working with you on that. Go ahead and tell them about our particulars again, Suleiman, so that people can subscribe.
Let me say, Nikki, this has been wonderful. It's exactly what I thought it was going to be. I'm hoping that a lot of people watch it, get to know you, and hopefully you get some business as well. So thank you again. But as I said, we need subscribers. So please go to our YouTube channel, subscribe to Gents Making Sense. We are on X and we're also on Spoutable. We put shorts up there so you can look at some specific parts of our conversation. But I think this is one that people should listen to the entire show. I think we put out some good information on that. So we'll see everybody next week. Again, thanks, Nikki. Always good to see you, Tony. So
hold tight, and we'll talk once we get off the air. Okay.
Thank you guys for having me.
Good night.